Man, let's just call it what it is. I think they're as good as defensive team as there is in college basketball. I think they're top three, right? I mean, you could probably can say St. John's. You may add someone else. It could be Auburn, but I think Duke defensively, from being able to switch, and that's without Malik Brown there. I said it. I just didn't think Wake would score enough. I didn't think they could score enough against Duke. It was going to take Hunter Silas to play well, not turn the basketball over, and then to have a secondary or third guy scoring double figures. So, um, I man, what do you want me to say? I was hoping. My fingers was crossed. I was cheering. I was cheering for the Deeks on this one to try to pull it out. But I probably halfway through the first half, I was like, nah, we ain't gonna score enough. And Cooper was just looked like he was. He looked like the best player in college basketball. Did everything, man. I mean, some of the stuff that he does, that like he got a couple of rebounds tonight, and one of them was he came down and helped and tipped it over. It was just one of those. They didn't say nothing about it on the broadcast, and I watched it and I'm going, damn. Like, I don't know what people realize what he just did. Like, he does that quite a bit, man, and he's the real deal. It's very rarely do you receive this type of hype and live up to it, and Cooper Flagg's done that, man. You just gotta tip your hat to that young man and just applaud his effort and how he approaches the game. He's the real deal.
Yeah, I feel like they should have let Wake play with 6 players, bro. They should have just gone and,
Hey
and
man,
just let him play with.
whoa. You being disrespectful right now. All right,
No,
I'm
I
gonna
mean
get
it
on
would have
you.
helped.
I'm
It
gonna
would
get
have
on
helped.
you anyway, cause I gotta call Rob and Jeff and find out. You've been on a lot. You've been on a lot lately. I don't know who wife you got naked pictures of, but you've been on hosting here the last couple days. Oh, it's been a little too much, man. You've been popping up on my damn screen and Field 68 hosting.
I'm
So
ever
I gotta
hey.
find out. I don't know which one you blackmailing. You got pictures of their wife or something, but it's Rob or Jeff. Because you've been hosting, and you're not going to come over here and disrespect my Deeks like that, man. They done
Hey,
steamrolled
no,
everybody.
you're
So
right.
we,
You're
not
right.
in Cameron.
No,
Not in
you're right.
Cameron,
You're
right?
right.
Because
Just
I
another
was the one
victim.
that
You're-
told y'all they was going to cover. I did say that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I joked in
Okay.
the I joked in the
All right. Then
I
leave it
joked
at
in the
that. We
group
ain't gonna
chat
do that
that
no more.
I joked that you called me and said that Wake Forest was a lock, but you did not in fact say that. So I do not want to put words in your mouth whatsoever. But I will say this, Jarrell, it did feel like watching that game, Duke had 6 players on the floor because they were defensively on the glass, like when it comes to reversing the ball, like they were just beating Wake Forest to every single spot today.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think RC hit it on the head, man. They're a very impressive defensive team, and obviously you got to give a major cap tip to John. I think he's done a phenomenal job. This isn't a group of guys when you watch them play, just as in the eye test, where it's like you don't think that they have as many young guys as they do. Like these guys are young, and let's be honest about it. They got at least 4 guys, 5 guys, maybe even that are going to be gone this year, that are going to end up being pros, and just a numbers game. Most times when you get units like that and you get that type of talent, it's really hard to get guys to completely buy in, especially on the defensive side of the basketball. But man, this group has done it, man, and they've been impressive. I felt like, and I'm not just saying this, but just as far as Cooper Flagg, me watching this year, this is probably the most complete game I've seen him play. He was spectacular in every facet of the game, and just the fact that he doesn't press and he plays the right way, and those guys trust each other offensively. And as bad as the final score ended up looking, I do want to give Wake Forest a little credit because I felt like early on in that game it was a bit of a slugfest. Neither team could really get it going. You could see they was making a concerted effort to try to go after Flagg and not leave Knipple open for open jumpers, and they were kind of daring Sion James to beat him a little bit early on. And to be honest with you, Duke didn't really have a great rhythm offensively early on, and I just remember looking up at the halftime score, and Wake Forest couldn't score it either, but Duke still ended up with 40 points, and I'm just like, man, this just is never a good sign when. Because those guys are going to end up breaking through at some point. It's going to be some mistakes on defense, and they're going to get it going offensively. But for them still to come out of that first half, what I would consider somewhat of a subpar offensive performance in the first half, they still have 40 points on the board, and they forced Wake Forest in like 3 shot clock violations. Like, I mean, with their length, their size just at every position, they make it really difficult for guys to get even shot attempts off at times. That's what it was like for Wake Forest. Like, it was a lot of possessions. I was just like, man, I don't even know if they're gonna get an attempt up to get the ball on the rim. So, you gotta give a major hat tip to John. Man, he's done a great job, especially having so many talented guys. It's just impressive the way those guys buy in on both sides of the basketball.
You know what?
RC,
I'll
they
add to
have.
that, John.
Go ahead.
You know what I'll add to that, guys, is I don't think Shire will get ACC Coach of the Year, and that's only because I think Pat Kelsey will get National Coach of
Kelsey,
the Year,
yeah.
right? And I think he deserved it because of what he inherited there. But the one thing I respect about Shire, and we saw this last year, is he demands a standard from these guys, and no matter what their resume is, no matter what their ranking is, if they come in there and they're not up to playing at that, he doesn't play 'em. And I respect the hell out of that because he's not worried about, hey, if you hit the portal, I'm going to get somebody else anyway. Um, they seem to be the one team that no matter what we talk about it, and I'd say this about every blue blood. Like, and I posed the question because I don't want to say every team, every blue blood, but how many blue bloods have handled the from the preparation leading into this NIL transfer portal era any better than they have? I mean, they've crushed it. I know they're getting the top kids, but if those top kids don't, you look at last year's group. If they don't match up, they don't stack up. They don't live up to the expectation that he wants. They don't play. And that's what happened to this group earlier. I mean, they still got another 4-star kid in Harris on the bench. Darren Harris barely plays, right? He chilling. He got to sit till next year. Isaiah Evans is starting to come around and knock down shots and forcing them to play him. I know Patrick Gumba's been hurt, and he's starting to come around and get time, man. But these guys are a well-oiled machine. I think they're just elite defensively. And if you don't have multiple handlers and multiple guys that can initiate your offense and finish in traffic through length, then you're going to have a problem beating Duke no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I think by this point, it's March 3rd. I think we have said quite literally probably everything there is to say about this Duke team, So like try to come up with like a different synonym for this team is awesome. We'll try to do that. But I guess I would ask Jarrell, and they have lost. So it's not like they're just running through this thing undefeated. They have lost, although, one of them was like quite literally the first game of the season. If you're going to beat Duke in this tournament, knowing what we know about them and how different they are from game one, how do you do it? Like, what are you trying to attack?
I mean, the first thing is that you gotta, like RC just spoke to, you gotta have guys and enough offensive firepower to put up a certain number on the board. And tonight, like you're not gonna beat Duke scoring 60. And that's really just, I'm being honest about that. That's for the other elite defensive teams too. I don't care if it's, Houston or Auburn or whoever it may be. There are some other really good ones. Tennessee, you're not going to beat this team putting up 60 points. They're going to find a way with the talent that they have to hit a certain number. So you got to have a certain amount of offensive firepower as well, and I think you got to have some kind of game plan to slow down Flagg and Knipple. I think those two guys are like the head of the snake for them. Obviously, it's hard doing with both of them being willing passers, but Flagg as of right now, like he shot it great tonight. He's not a guy that's just hoisting up a whole lot of threes. He's putting a lot of pressure and stuff on the rim. So I think you got to do one or two things. Either you gotta shut their water off and try to slow those two guys down. I know they do a lot of two-man game stuff with them as well too, or you just kind of gotta essentially take everybody else away and say, okay, I'm gonna make these two dudes go get 70 or 80 points between the two of them to beat me. And I haven't seen anybody try that yet. I've seen them do some other stuff trying to dare some of these other guys to shoot. But, man, when you got really good players and they're just getting wide open shots, man, it's hard for them to just, the law averages is eventually way out. Guys are going to make a certain number of shots. And they're smart enough. John does a good enough job just scheming and doing some things tactically just to make sure that they're still getting paint touches. They're still getting looks at the rim. He draws up a lot of lobs and things like that coming in and out of the halves or ATOs. But I mean, you gotta have some kind of the talent to match up with them at some point. But they're gonna be a tough out. But I think for sure whoever beats them, man, it's gonna have to be a team that gets really hot. Obviously, that could change the